The fall stunned her, but it didn't stop the moan.
Oh no!
Whoa! Nightclub catastrophes, getting wild in the Amazon, and the ultimate lawnmower mishaps. Today, we're back at it, breaking down all of the head-turning medical scenes and insane ways people supposedly kick the bucket in 1,000 Ways to Die. Here to help me react today is my wife, Jen.
Yep, as you may or may not have known, I used to be an actress on this show back in the day, and there is plenty of mayhem coming your way.
Yep, let's dive right in.
Say hello to Joe, your average lazy slob.
Pet peeve, use a tissue.
Blech. Nose picking. Isn't there a lot of bacteria and strep?
Bacteria, lots of stuff that's there because it's a filter. Picking your nose, you do increase the risk of seeding it into tissues that you shouldn't. So if you cut your nose or open hair follicle, the ripping out the hairs, increase the risk of getting infection. You just gotta be careful.
We're not getting divorced.
Joseph, please, just sign the papers.
No. I think you're abusing me. What do you think of that, huh? You're abusing me.
What?
No.
What are you doing?
Have you ever had somebody come into the hospital where you were suspicious that maybe some of their injuries were self-induced?
Never do you see like somebody who's beaten themselves up.
Taking a book to the face, a
Never
rock to the face.
I've never seen that.
Kicking his own.
Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
crush your own finger, that could
Oh.
hurt like heck. Most likely caused a tuft injury, fracture of the distal phalanx, which just causes pain as long as it's a closed injury. But you can also get a subungual hematoma, which is blood underneath the fingernail, which hurts like hell.
You'll never leave me. Till death do us part.
Causing a lot of like superficial injuries and bruises. They depicted that he's missing a tooth. Slap to the face, disc
Smacked
to the
him.
face.
The eye, almost. It was almost like the bone around his left eye.
I think it's mostly soft tissue, but I think when he takes this metal object to his face, that's when he gets the laceration.
Concerned neighbors call 911.
She beat me.
I didn't touch him.
The police show up, and Joe points the finger at Serena.
She beat me.
What kind of makeshift cast? It looks like cardboard taped around his leg.
It is. It could be some EMS.
Do they do that?
Yeah, so some EMS systems maybe don't have a lot of budget or whatever, they don't bill for it, but you can have these cardboard pieces. It's probably a trifold of cardboard and tape it.
I was
And-
thinking he did it, not the EMS.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm thinking
so
like
hurt.
EMS did. He might have done it, but he did it appropriately. So you're splitting above and below the joint with the tape. Yeah, oh, there.
Oh, there he goes.
Is he strapped in?
Oh.
Oh, no, he's not strapped in. Stop it.
Oh my gosh. Don't pull it out.
Yeah, so this one, you probably have to pull it out. And then get to the hospital, get images, you're doing your normal resuscitation, airway, breathing, circulation of the individual.
If it hit upper chest, maybe he's okay. But
Correct. Depends if it's midline. So if it's like middle of the chest,
he might have shish kebabbed his heart.
correct.
Diamond Jacks is one of those hole-in-the-walls that specialized in strippers who can wrap themselves around a pole in ways you never dreamed of.
Shout out to all the folks in Tampa. I've never seen so many strip clubs in a
It's just,
short. It's like post office, grocery store, gas station, strip club.
Same thing was in Providence, Rhode Island.
With the new strobe system, she knew all eyes would
Oh.
be on her.
Look away if you have epilepsy.
Oh, yeah, right? Common reasons why people might have a seizure if you have a seizure disorder. Missing your medications, that's like number one. Stress,
Sleep deprivation.
lack of sleep, toxin, dehydration, anything like just like outside of your norm, potentially set you over the edge.
The strobe was lighting up her neurons at 30 flashes a second.
Oh, and
She
hers.
was dancing like she never had before.
Why's she bleeding?
That's because she was having a grand mal seizure.
I didn't know you could bleed from your mouth if you have a grand mal seizure, unless you like bit your tongue or something.
That's it. Typically, grand mal seizure means full seizure, altered tonic-clonic motions, not wiggly, which also causes the mouth to do the similar movements, and your tongue or cheek get in the way. So then you can cause bleeding in your mouth. Okay. A grand mal seizure unlikely is impeding your airway, because when somebody has a big seizure, you're not supposed to touch them, let them seize, just roll them on their side and make sure they don't aspirate. We're not going to intubate anybody while they're having a seizure, these sorts of things, unless they're paralyzed. It runs its course.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No, you should not die. So then the question is, was there something else that caused her death? And there's a seizure as a component aspect of it. Drug overdose.
I was thinking that.
Electrolyte abnormality.
Ooh.
High or low sodium.
If the booze ran out, they took turns going to the liquor store. Jessica was today's designated drunk driver,
It's your turn.
but a recent DUI and impounded car posed a problem. But not for long.
Oh. What did they always say? Don't operate heavy machinery.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not just alcohol, that's
Pills.
Ambien.
Yeah, because you're like tripping, because if you're not asleep, the medication is causing your brain to be altered because it crosses the blood-brain barrier.
Jessica set off for the open lawn. After running the stop sign,
Can we just talk about how low that stop sign is that she just blew
It is
through?
a very short stop sign. Like, it's as tall as a fire hydrant.
Center for ants?
A center for ants! Ma'am, stop the tractor, please.
with the cops on her trail, Jessica
Ma'am. Was she going 2 miles an hour?
Ma'am, stop the tractor.
but with a top speed of 4 miles per
Oh,
hour.
4.
Yeah, so but sometimes they have like images of like turtles and rabbits.
Yeah, they do.
On these for your speeds.
I used to have a show called It's How You Get There where we would take different modes of transportation to different locations. One was a whole episode with Caterpillar in Arizona.
So like the big
But the
freaking
big,
things.
I literally paved my own street
Yeah,
called
so
Barlow
cool.
Road.
Her only choice was to go off-road.
I ever stopped.
I think that's
That's when
Burbank
Jessica
Police
hit
Department.
rock
Maybe not. It's not gonna go well.
Scenes like this are a reminder that alcohol doesn't just affect your liver, it affects your judgment too. If you do want to responsibly partake in a few adult beverages, you may want to consider Poor Decisions by my company Life Happens, designed to help your body handle alcohol more efficiently. Check it out at lifehappens.com or on Amazon.
The fall stunned her, but it didn't stop the motor.
Oh no!
Whoa! I thought she was gonna drive over the rocks, shoot the rocks out, and kill the cop. Run over by her own lawnmower.
Do you think she would have actually kicked the bucket? Torso area, lot of vital organs in that space.
Yeah, and it's just like cutting through layer and layer and layer. It's just ripping tissue.
Oh.
You should be able to get out from this. Fingers, arms, foot are injuries that occur with this type of machinery. Similar to a snowblower.
My old videographer on one of my travel shows, Brandon, shout out if he watches this. He was missing a finger because it got caught in a lawnmower as well.
Those potentially could be reattached.
So do you think she would have actually kicked the bucket?
Probably cause significant trauma and damage, but you should have enough adrenaline kicked in, even with the alcohol, to know to like push it off you.
Preston was on an adventure. A rich, spoiled kid. He had paid for a guide to lead him through the Brazilian jungle so he would have something to brag about with his rich, preppy friends.
She's a guide in the Amazon, shorts. There's a lot of
Yeah.
fleas and mosquitoes and parasites and bugs and
Yep.
snakes. I feel like I would be covered head to toe.
It was a miserable Preston who laid down.
Well, at least he's got like a nice place to stay. He's off the ground, right? So you think about like creatures crawling on the ground and stuff.
From a dream.
I can't imagine.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, tarantulas.
say-
I don't like spiders.
I have found a tarantula in the wild in the desert and I picked it up. Probably shouldn't have.
No, because the thingy things and the things are not good to touch.
But they were just the warm-up act.
Oh no.
Snake incoming.
The jungle
Oh, that's not small.
Preston a hard lesson. Nature was a
Boa constrictor. So they're just one big piece of muscle.
Which is worse in your brain, snakes or spiders?
Snakes.
I hate snakes!
I used to have a pet snake, William Snakespeare.
Say that again. What's the name?
William Snakespeare.
That's awesome.
A 15-foot boa constrictor began putting the squeeze to Preston's neck. Unable to cry for help, he was quickly running out of breath
Wow.
and time.
It's not just the airway getting compressed. It's also the major blood vessels.
So you're not getting blood to your brain.
Or out of your brain.
Yep.
There's no flow there, so now you're gonna pass out. Then you're also gonna pass out from not breathing.
The snake kept tightening its grip around Preston's throat. In less than 2 minutes, the preppy adventurer was choked to death.
They did a really good job of showing the anatomy of like
Yeah.
the trachea. Typically, if you cut off all my air supply and I'm a healthy individual, he looked relatively healthy. You probably got anywhere between like 5 to 8 minutes of oxygen saturation in your tissue.
Would Home Slice here have kicked the bucket?
Yeah, this is a simple, common potential injury that could happen.
A little old lady out for a stroll, enjoying the autumn of her years. Some jerk decides to pounce on her.
Don't be a jerk. Weird. Beat him!
Granny might be 74, but she's
Nice.
also a 5th-degree
Get him.
black belt in taekwondo.
Oh!
She's got a black belt in taekwondo.
Good for her, Granny.
The thief's got no problem hitting a
Oh!
Oh, no, he didn't.
Wow, he should have just got up and run away.
Yeah, stupid.
He lands some vicious blows.
But you got to be really worried about like an elderly person, even though they might be really with
Fit.
it. The brain does shrink as we get older, so the more traumatic hits to the head, the more the brain is actually sloshing around, which increases the risk of bleeding in the brain.
It was time to wrap it up. Granny had a date with a dialysis machine.
And she's on dialysis? Usually you're with dialysis if you have kidney disease.
Kidney's not functioning, so that means end-stage renal disease, chronic kidney disease, to where you're probably not making urine anymore, and you got to go to dialysis 3 times a week.
She delivers the grandmother of all punches right to his throat.
Oh no.
Bopped somebody right here.
In the larynx. If you break the cartilage, you're just breaking the structure. So then the question is the tubing off, or is there a significant amount of swelling to the area which is then blocking the airway? It has to be like a perfect hit. I've never seen a windpipe injury like that before.
On the windpipe, where the Adam's apple is, or the larynx is, and she generated enough force to rupture the windpipe. Now his body wasn't able to suck in the air that it needed to live on.
We roll up on scene and somebody can't breathe. Potentially we'll just cut open their neck below that injury and see if you can get an airway in there.
Would he have actually died in real life from this?
Yeah, you could have. If the airway is totally occluded emergently, you can die pretty quickly.
Listen, I don't like to see him pass away, but he asked for it and he tried to beat up a granny.
Right.
Which was the most likely to kick the bucket and least likely.
So I would say the most likely to kick the bucket is probably the last two, either both having to do with airways. The least likely is definitely the stripper. But if you guys enjoyed this, we've done a couple of these episodes.
Just a few. I don't think they actually ever made it to
No,
1,000.
I don't think they did. I think we looked this up one time.
Yeah.
Definitely binge watch this playlist right here. And as always, do us a favor, subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, and hit that like button for us. Thank you so much for watching.
And stay healthy, my friends.